So as we saw in the introduction, solving equations of the form absolute value of some expression equals a means that we have to look at that distance as being both sides of 0 on the number line. So we set whatever is inside the absolute value equal to positive a for the distance to the right of 0. And we also set what's inside that absolute value equal to negative a for the distance that's left of 0 on the number line. So our first example, solve the absolute value of x equals 0. So whatever's inside the absolute value equals the number that represents the distance from 0. And well, how far from 0 is 0? Not far at all. So in this case, there's only one solution here because there's no side of 0 for 0. 0 is 0, and that's it. For number 2, though, the absolute value of 4x plus 2 equals 6. So the distance from 0 to what's inside the absolute value is 6 units. So we set what's inside equal to 6 for the right side, and we set what's inside equal to negative 6 for the left side of 0. And then we solve those resulting equations. So we'll subtract 2 from both sides of the equal sign. Then 4x equals 4, and 4x equals negative 8. And then we divide 4 from both sides of the equation so that x equals 1 and x equals negative 2. So this will have two solutions that makes that distance 6 units, a negative 2 and a positive 1. If you want to check that, to make sure that that's true, then the absolute value of 4 times negative 2 plus 2 it should be 6 units. So 4 times negative 2 is negative 8 plus 2. And negative 8 plus 2 is negative 6. So the absolute value of negative 6 is 6, and that's true. So it'll be true for both of those solutions. You can double check if you want to make sure. For number 3, we have the absolute value here is equal to 1. So a distance of 1 on the right side is positive 1. And a distance of 1 on the left side is negative 1. So we want to represent that absolute value for both of those distances. So we just need to solve these resulting equations. Then we'll subtract 4 from both sides of the equal sign. Then x over 3 equals negative 3, and x over 3 equals negative 5. And then to get x by itself, we have to multiply 3 to both sides of the equation. Then we find that x equals negative 9 and x equals negative 15. So we have two solutions here, a negative 15 and a negative 9, that should both make this equation true. Number 4, the absolute value of 5x plus 9 equals 19. Now see, it's not clear what the distance is here because the absolute value is not the only thing on this side of the equation. So what I'm going to have to do is first isolate the absolute value, which means get that to be the only term on that side. So we'll have to subtract 9 from both sides of the equation. Then the absolute value of 5x equals 10. And then we can solve for the distance. Okay, so the distance on the right side is 10, and the distance on the left side will be a negative 10. And we can solve these equations for x just by dividing 5 from both sides. So we find that x equals 2 and x equals negative 2. So two solutions here. We probably want to check those to make sure they're true. So if we were to check the absolute value of 5 times negative 2 plus 9 equals 19, that's an absolute value of negative 10, which is a distance of 10, so 10 plus 9 is 19. And the absolute value of the positive 2 is going to be 10 plus 9 equals 19, which is also true. So I would definitely suggest checking your solutions just to make sure that there were no mistakes. So number 5 then, our absolute value is surrounded by a whole lot of other stuff on this side. So let's isolate it as if we're solving for it first. So first we need to undo the other term. Let's subtract 26 from both sides of the absolute value. Then 3 times absolute value of y equals negative 9. And then we also have this multiplication here. So when we want to divide 3 from both sides to get the absolute value of y to be the only thing on that side. And then on the right side of the equal sign, that divides to negative 3. So this equation is telling me that the distance from 0 to y is negative 3 units. Does that make sense? How can the distance be negative 3? Have you ever heard of a table being negative 3 feet long? Nope, that makes no sense. So that means that there is no solution to this equation. There's no value of y that could possibly make this true. Try it out. You think negative 3 would work? No, because the absolute value of negative 3 is positive 3. Do you think 3 would work? Well, no, because it's, again, positive 3. So there is no value for the variable that could possibly make this true because distance just can't be negative. It can't be negative. It's not possible. So if you look at number 6, solve the absolute value of this equals negative 3. What's your first thought here? There's an absolute value, so that means distance from 0 is equal to negative 3. And it doesn't have to be 3. It could be negative 4. It could be negative 20. It could be negative 4/5. It doesn't matter. If there's a negative on that side, guess what? There's no value for the variable that could possibly make this true. Nothing will make the distance equal to a negative number.